This is Indecisive Cinema episode, was it 22? 22, damn. We're still is our second week using these new mics, so we're still figuring that out. But so I apologize if there's popping and just general.
We gotta get filters here. Pop.
Yeah, we gotta get some filters and stuff like that. But for the time being, it is what it is. I mean, you haven't. But hopefully we'll figure that out in the future. But I'm no audio expert. Anyway, this is episode 22.
22.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And today we're going to be talking about. I've got 9 movies, 10 movies that I've seen. Some are current films that are in theaters.
Yeah.
Actually, there's none that are in theaters other than Mary Poppins.
Oh, that's right.
All the rest of them are. Well, if Beale Street Could Talk is still playing. In
theaters.
Yes.
And
so there's
First
few.
Reformed isn't.
First Reformed isn't. It may. I think it got nominated for something.
It did.
We'll get to that. I'm gonna review the movies I've seen, and then we'll get into the Oscar nominations. Came out 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something like that. And because today is January 27th, 2019. I don't know what month it is.
You work hard, bro. I understand.
But so that's when we're recording this, and we're gonna talk about these 10 films, and we'll list them off in the order that we're gonna go through them. Mm-hmm. If Beale Street Could Talk, which is the follow-up for Moonlight.
But did you want to wait for the Oscar noms to talk about that, or you want to just talk about before?
Well, I'm gonna review it because we haven't talked about it yet.
I got you.
And then Searching, which you put on your top 10 list last time we talked. I know I haven't published all those episodes yet, but and then First Reformed. We're going to talk about an older film, The Loved Ones, which I think is from like 2009, which both of us have seen, but I just saw it for the first time. A Star Is Born, A Dark Song, which is, I think, on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, I've had it on my queue forever, and I haven't watched it.
That's not a current film. It's like from 2017, but I do want to talk about that. The Ritual, which is on Netflix. Mary Poppins Returns. Cam, and the Fyre documentary, and then Hereditary. So we have a ton of movies to talk about, and then we're going to discuss kind of. I mean, because some of these movies were a few of the films that I thought could end up in the Oscars, so that's part of the reason we're discussing them. And then some of them are just current movies that would need to be discussed. So we're going to get into that, and then go through also the Golden Globes as well.
I was going to say just the winners and how it affected the Oscars, but
So that's the agenda. So I guess we'll start with If Beale Street Could Talk, which is the follow-up film from Moonlight director Barry Jenkins. And for the longest time, I don't know why, the whole time I was watching the film, I thought it was the follow-up film from, and it may be because of the way I saw it on Twitter, from the guy who made, let me pull it up. What's the film about? I picture the freaking title. It doesn't matter. But it's Barry Jenkins' new movie. And Moonlight obviously won Best Picture for 2016, but in 2017. And If Beale Street Could Talk is sort of a love story told in flashback after one of the two of them and the couple. The main guy, played by Stephen James, gets arrested falsely for raping a woman and goes to prison or goes to jail while he's waiting trial. And the person that accused him, the lady that accused him of raping him, has fled to another country, and so they don't know where she is, and so the trial is taking longer than expected. And so he's basically just sitting in jail while they're waiting to try and bring it to trial, but it doesn't seem like anybody is attempting to make that quick. And so it kind of it shows Kiki Lane, who plays Tish in the movie, who she goes to visit him in jail, and it kind of brings back some of the memories of when they first met. And the film structurally reminds me a lot of Blue Valentine. Which I love. I love that film.
Favorite movies.
And it kind of you see like the romantic kind of golden years or year or so when they first met and when they fell in love, and then there's kind of this parallel to or kind of contrast, I suppose, to the modern day when they're separated and by a pane of glass, and so it's both touching and romantic, but also tragic and heartbreaking. and the performances all around are just amazing. I mean, it's so meticulously well directed, and it's beautiful. Shot by let me pull up the cinematographer's name. By James Laxton, who I think shot Moonlight, which is another beautiful movie. So it looks great on screen. If you can see it in the theater, it's definitely worth seeing. I'm really surprised. We'll get to Oscars in a bit, but I just can't believe this movie didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
I think it's better than several of the nominations on the Best Picture list.
Well, Moonlight, I think it's because of the backlash from Moonlight. A lot of people felt that Moonlight didn't deserve Best Picture, and so I think maybe this is the Oscars' way of saying, well, I'll give Regina King the nom because she deserves it, and she won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. But yeah, I knew that was going to happen because of all the backlash from Moonlight.
Yeah, and Moonlight's a great film though, so I think
I liked it a lot. I don't think it deserved Best Picture either, but I did like it a lot.
But I personally would have taken La La Land. But,
definitely, that was my favorite movie of that year.
I love that film, but I do like Moonlight a lot.
Yeah.
I've revisited it since, and it's a great movie. And so is this. I guess this is also a smaller film, so that might be why. But it's similar to Moonlight. I do think while it's heartbreaking at times, the final conclusion is a little bit unsatisfying, and I'm not saying that like it's unsatisfying because of what happens, but not to the audience, to the characters.
Yeah, gotcha.
And the characters kind of they deal with what happens, but it's making a point. The way it ends has like it feels anticlimactic.
Yeah, I got you.
And this is the same way I felt about Moonlight. And looking back at it, but it's intention. I feel like it's intentional. It's a very subtle, kind of quiet ending, and I don't know if that goes over well with everyone, which may be why.
I
don't know.
The ending of Moonlight was more satisfying. I mean, I haven't seen, but from what you're saying, if Beale Street could talk, it's probably.
Well, what I mean is, there's not like some kind of big explosion.
Yeah, agreed. It was very subtle, very quiet,
yeah.
and I dug that. I actually dug that for the situation.
Absolutely, and this is very similar in that regard. But I just think it's really well done, and it's worth seeing just for Regina King. Did get nominated for it.
I love her.
And she's
great actress.
Absolutely spectacular. I mean, everybody's just great. I love Coleman Domingo, who plays the father of. I forgot to say that she. Part of the drama of this film is as this couple who one of them is in jail, the other one gets pregnant, and his family doesn't approve, and that creates some tension in the family, and they have to kind of come together to try and save the child, basically. And so that's kind of the driving force behind the drama in the film. But it's really, really damn good. So anyway, that's if Beale Street could talk. If you can get a chance to see it in the theater, you should.
I definitely do want to see it. Yeah.
So that's the first one on our list. I know it's a little short, but we've got a lot of movies to get through. Yeah. So then we'll go. Searching is the next one.
Yeah, what you think?
Which we discussed. You discussed.
Yeah, it was one of my top 10 lists. Yeah.
Really good. I like it a lot. It's really well edited. And,
definitely.
Yeah. It's an interesting. It's definitely a gimmick movie, but I think it definitely. It's not. It doesn't rely on the gimmick.
It works. The gimmick works
without being like in your face. Obvious.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah.
And I think so. I really like the way the plot unfolds, and there's an interesting mystery throughout this whole film. And I guess to review it, even though we've talked about the plot already, basically, this father who. You see kind of through the opening sequence actually reminds me a lot of Up, where you kind of see it opens with like a early 2000s Windows XP desktop screen, awesome, somebody logging in and kind of going through photos and videos of kind of that the family has over the years, and we see kind of the unfortunate not downfall, but there's
the death of the family.
The wife gets cancer and passes away, and you can slowly start to see kind of the way that's all told is really touching.
It is. It's amazing.
And so then we're left with these two characters. The husband played by, let me pull up the IMDb real quick. John Cho and his daughter. I don't know who plays her, but is she? I'm trying to think if she's actually in the film at all, other than just on the computer. We see pictures of her and whatnot, but and so the film is told entirely off of computer or phone screens.
Yeah,
And so a lot of it's told through John Cho's MacBook that he opens up and has video chats with people, and like we'll turn the camera on to kind of, obviously, like I said, it's definitely a gimmick, but it
Michelle
works.
La, that's the daughter.
And eventually, she essentially tells him that she's at a group, like a study group, overnight, and because they're cramming for a test, and then the next morning she's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And so he goes on a search. Hence the title, to kind of work with the cops and figure out what happened to her. And he finds out that she may not be who he thought she was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's, I think the way it unfolds, like I said, it's really well edited. And if you have any kind of production background, I think it's very easy to kind of appreciate how much effort went into designing everything in the film, and especially like I was talking about the opening sequence, like the early stuff, like from screenshots from like
Windows XP,
early 2000s. It's nostalgic, and like there's like somebody who's on AIM at one point. I was like, oh my god.
I know, I laughed at that.
But yeah, so it's got those moments of kind of nostalgia, but it also, like I said, it's just really well edited. John Cho's good in it.
He's amazing. He's a good actor. He's a very good actor.
I think the only thing that keeps me from like really loving it as much as a lot of people did, I think, is the fact and I didn't notice it until like midway through the third act, is we don't get as much like intimate screen time with the characters because it's done the way it is.
I agree with you, yeah.
Which is fine. It's not, the movie doesn't need that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we don't connect with the characters in the way that we would in a traditional film. And that's my only complaint. It's not really, I can't fault the film for that necessarily. Yeah. But it is one of those things that I think kept me at a distance the whole time.
And I want just to add on that, I think, and again, Jeremy, are you 25 or 26?
24.
24, oh my gosh. And I'm 47, and I have kids, so I think maybe that's why, because I have a child who's a little younger than Margot's character, and it's a fear that all parents have. So I guess what you don't have, and what you're saying is 100%, but I have, so I'm invested because I'm like, oh my god, this could happen to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the difference, but I think that's why I enjoyed it more. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, without children, I can see where the gimmick will stop you from being invested in the characters.
But that didn't stop me from caring about what was happening.
Oh, no, of course
I was definitely interested
in,
I think I stopped it midway through to like show somebody, I forgot who, I think I watched it with my mom or something. Because I was like, you'll like this. And because I think that opening is really great.
It is.
I think they definitely find, and that's what the movie does, find ways to, overcome what I just described.
Yeah, I agree.
It's solid. It's worth watching. I don't know if I would have liked to see it, care to see it in the theater.
Like, I don't know. That was made for
it's a perfect Netflix type movie.
Definitely, no doubt. Computer, if you want your computer, watch it, be 100%.
But it's solid.
Yeah.
And so the next one will be First Reformed, which is the latest film starring Ethan Hawke. And it's
Paul Schrader.
What?
Directed by Paul Schrader.
Oh yeah, Paul Schrader. Yeah. I was like, what did you say? And so essentially, it's about a pastor at a really small church, kind of in the middle of, I think it's upstate New York. I forget. Upstate New York. I got that right, actually. I never remember these things.
That's what I'm here for, Jeremy. I'm here to back you up.
Perfect. And he gets approached by a person in his congregation, played by Amanda Seyfried. I forgot how to pronounce her last name. Who's great in it. I forgot that Cedric Entertainer's in this movie. I saw this a couple weeks ago, but I can't stop thinking about it, and I'll get to why in a second. And he essentially, she approaches him and tells him that her husband has been feeling really down lately, and she's pregnant, and he's not sure if he wants to keep the child. And so Ethan Hawke goes to meet with her husband, and he finds out that he's kind of an activist, like an environmental activist. And they have a conversation about kind of what it means to bring a child into this world, especially from an activist perspective. And it changes the way that Ethan Hawke's character kind of views everything. And it's that scene between the two of them, I think, is absolutely worth every bit of. I mean, like it's one of the best scenes of the year. It's amazing. Yeah, agreed. And it's just, have you seen it?
I have not. I want to now. I mean, I've wanted to before because I love Paul Schrader, but now
it's a really quiet kind of understated film, and I really, really like this movie. And I think when I first watched it, I kind of I knew that it was something I would kind of chew on for a while. But I think that the longer I get from seeing that film, the more I want to see it again. It's just so there's, and actually I made some notes about it because I knew that we wouldn't talk about it for a while. But one of the conversation that he has with them is a lot about kind of when it's appropriate to be hopeful or despair.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of one of the themes of the film, which is, at least from this character's perspective, and in kind of a time where we're not sure what's going to happen, what does it look like to bring a child, into the world? And I think it's, the film asks the question, should you be hopeful in the way that you approach that, like bringing a kid in, or is it kind of a curse to bring a child into the world? And so there's that theme in itself is really kind of tragic and fascinating, and the film really explores that in a way that's I just think visually interesting and bizarre. And it has a very odd ending, which some people may not enjoy. I don't know if I fully understand everything that happens in this film, but Ethan Hawke is just outstanding.
I was surprised he wasn't nominated.
I don't understand it. I don't.
I mean, the screenplay was nominated, and that's one of the original screenplays.
I think Schrader should have been nominated for director.
Yeah, I've been dying to see this movie. Yeah.
It's really good. So
it's the only nom, the screenplay. That's it.
And I think it's on Amazon at the moment. And if
you
have
I have
Amazon,
it in my queue. Amazon Prime. I have it in my queue. I'm gonna definitely see it now that you said that. I'm gonna see it tonight.
Anyway, go see First Reformed on Amazon. I wish I saw this in the theater. I don't know why the hell I missed it.
Yeah, I thought you did. I thought you said you did. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, and I have it in my queue. But now you say that, since I'm watching all the ones you've watched and you put on your list, I'm going to watch now. But yeah, that's one First Reformed I'm going to watch tonight.
It's a quiet, just thought-provoking movie, and I really like it. So, and then we're going to get to an older film. I think I said 2009. I'm not sure if that was right or not.
Loved Ones?
The Loved Ones, which is
I think it is
the debut feature from director, I forgot his name, but he did Devil's Candy, which is fantastic.
Great movie, yeah.
Just really amazing.
Yeah, Sean Byrne.
Australian director.
Yeah, they're Australian.
And this film is essentially, I think one of the pull quotes was, it's John Hughes meets Texas Chainsaw
Massacre, yes. And I remember that's how they sell it. I was like telling Gloria, and I said, that is so 100%.
It's right on.
Yeah, spot on. Yes.
It's a film about a high school boy played by Xavier Samuel, who I don't know if he did anything after this movie.
I was going to say, I was looking at it, and then we started talking about it.
He was in some of the Twilight films and Fury, it looks like.
Oh, that's right. That's who he is from Twilight.
I don't remember him at all. But
yeah, he was in Fury, but I don't know if you saw Fury. You saw Fury?
I did not see Fury. I was thinking about watching it the other day, but yeah.
He hasn't done nothing in a while.
He plays this teen who, in the opening sequence, him and his father, who totally looks like just a friend of his, which is kind of an odd scene, but they're kind of bantering back and forth and just kind of showing, that they had some kind of good relationship. And they're driving in a car, and all of a sudden there's a man on the road, and the main character, played by Xavier Samuel, swerves to avoid this person who looks distraught, and runs into a tree and kills his father. So that's kind of the opening sequence, and so then we cut to him in high school. I think it's like 6 months later, or a year later or something, and he's definitely kind of distraught from the whole experience, and this girl approaches him, Lola, and invites him to the school's prom, and he turns her down because he's dating somebody. And he's like, "Oh, sorry," and he's respectful about it, but she doesn't take it that way, and kidnaps him and ties him to a chair and tortures him. And then horrible things happen. And it's I made the mistake of showing this to both my brother and sister because I read the synopsis and I was like, and it's got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, no, it's amazing film.
Critic ratings.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I haven't seen that. I don't know what that is. I didn't realize it was from the director of Devil's Candy. If I had known, I may not have shown this. My brother can handle that because he watches movies a lot.
Sister,
but my poor sister. I mean, and I know, so I guess we'll get spoiler territory for The Loved Ones. You should go watch it.
10 years ago.
If you like horror films, it's definitely there's moments that are bordering on like torture porn territory.
Oh my God. Yeah, no doubt.
But I do think the film has an amazing third act reveal that's absolutely worth watching. And we'll get into spoilers now. But, so she ties him to a chair, and then they begin to torture him, and just so you find out that her and her father very quickly. Her father's the one that kidnaps him, and they have this. He dresses up in this really odd blue suit, and she puts this dress on. It's like he buys her a dress, which is a really weird scene where she like makes him watch her put it on.
Yeah, it's a very incestual background tones. Yes.
Undertones of the film, and she then proceeds to make him do horrible things. We don't need to go into detail on that, but she has him like pee in a glass and they threaten to like nail his penis at one point. And it's so, but they never, I think that the film is very gory.
Yeah, it's very
and like I said, it kind of borders on that torture porn territory.
Yes, it is.
But I do think, and I think that's a fair criticism if somebody didn't like this movie for that reason. I get it. It's almost sadistic at times. But the reveal in the middle of the movie, I think, is what makes this film great. Because I think if it... So they start torturing him like 15 minutes into the movie.
The movie starts.
Like, where is this going to go? You know, and then and it doesn't shy away from, like, there's this scene with the drill, which is just...
Oh my God, yes, I know.
Brutal, where she drills into his skull. And then, she goes to drill and misses and just scratches his head. And it's like, so you have like this build up, and it's played for comedy.
Yeah, no doubt.
That scene. And then she drills into his head, and we cut to a wide shot where we see like you hear the sound of bone cracking, and then you see like this dust coming out, kind of like sawdust when you cut into wood, and it's just horrible. And then she pulls the drill out and says, the hole needs to be bigger, Daddy. And so he goes in to make the hole bigger. Just horrible. But because it's played for, so the fact that it's played for humor makes it more disturbing, I think.
I agree, yes.
But it's... I've just never seen anything like this. Movie's really odd, and there's definitely some obvious tribute to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, definitely.
Which, if you've seen that movie, you kind of roll your eyes at, I think. But I think Lola is just so crazy.
She is.
And there's a moment where he gets out and runs away, and they like chase him down in the car, and like there's just these really amazing. I mean, for a debut feature, I can't believe anybody let him make.
He's only done 2 films, too.
I know.
And then Devil's Candy's the other one.
And Devil's Candy's like this really lean, intense movie, and this is like playfully wicked in a way that's very odd. And meanwhile, all his friends, the film kind of has this parallel where you have his best friend in the movie is going to prom and doing all the regular high school things, and then it cuts to him being tortured. And so it has that. But I do think another complaint that I've shown this film to like 2 different people, and both of them, the people I showed it to, at some point were like, why are we watching this like B storyline unfold? And, I mean, I don't know that the film ever really ties those 2 things together in a way that makes it worth watching the B storyline.
I agree with that.
But this film is delightfully wicked, and and has these when she opens up the I guess the doors
to this
pit underground.
Underground layer dungeon.
This dungeon of people that they've kept underground for lobotomized. I was just blown away. I mean, it's really amazing, and the production design is really impressive. It's very colorful. And,
I agree with that.
I just, for a debut feature, I was blown away. I mean, it's. Not for everyone, for sure, but it is just a fantastic movie for horror fans. What
happened with your sister? What was her reaction?
Oh, she was just like, I don't like this, and then kept watching the whole movie. And I was like, all right.
It's always the way.
And we'll get to Mary Poppins later, but
You can't segue into Mary Poppins. You have to watch the one.
I went to watch Mary Poppins, I think the same day.
I had to get it out of your mind.
And midway through, I was really just trying to go to Draft House to eat their popcorn and food. That's why I went. And it was the only thing playing at 10:45 at night.
Yeah.
Because I always have to leave like an hour and 15 minutes before I go to Draft House. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went and saw Mary Poppins. I think midway through, I realized part of the reason I don't care about like children's films is that the stakes are so much lower than like something where somebody could die.
Yeah.
And I think I was like the reason I like horror films is because the stakes are so much higher.
Yeah, of course.
And like there's nothing in Mary Poppins that can scare me as much as getting drilled in the forehead. But anyway, The Loved Ones is fantastic.
It is. It's an amazing movie.
I don't know. I watched it on Xfinity. I don't know if it's on.
It's on Amazon Prime.
It's on. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you're a horror fan,
definitely check it out.
And you can handle some pretty brutal violence. It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
And it has this the ending where they kill Lola is spectacular.
Yes.
And I love it. I love it. It's great. Can't wait to see more from Sean Byrne because Devil's Candy is fantastic. That's also on Netflix. So
you only got 2 films to watch.
Yep. Go watch them both. So the next one we'll get to, which I think did get nominated. We'll get into Best Picture later, but A Star Is Born, the next one on my list, which I saw just a late showing of it. I don't know why. I mean, I heard so many great things about this movie, and I just never decided to go see it until like the last week it was running. And it may have been because of the nominations that I saw. I saw this I saw it on the 10th of January, so I saw it way late.
A couple of weeks.
But I really like this film.
Okay,
So it's Bradley Cooper's directorial debut. It's it's the 4th remake of The Star Is Born. And I know I haven't seen any of the other Star Is Born. I've never seen them.
I think this would be closer to the last one, which was Chris Christopherson and Barbra Streisand.
Gotcha.
Because they're both musicals. I mean, Chris Christopherson is a country western, pop singer, and Barbra Streisand is a pop singer. So this would be the closest to that because, of course, Lady Gaga is a Grammy-winning singer, and Bradley Cooper I heard is like amazing, and he's never.
I think it's the best performance of the year.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. He's not
other than maybe Ethan Hawke. I think the two of them. I mean, I think his performance is so understated and just I think he's brilliant in this movie. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
The plot is that you have what you just described, that kind of a country pop. It's like a rock country rock, what you want to call it. Definitely like more of an old school style.
70s style.
He's like really famous, and he walks into a bar and finds it's like a drag bar, and they're doing kind of this musical night, or the way they do these big performances, and Lady Gaga's character, I don't remember their name. Do you know their names?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god. In the movie itself, I'm just reading, but go on.
Lady Gaga does what Lady Gaga does. And just blows him away, and he's really impressed and just kind of falls for her, and he buys her a drink, and they go and they hang out. Allie, yeah. And they kind of fall for one another.
Yeah.
And he invites her to a show, and I enjoy that part of the movie. Kind of this person who doesn't have any money and has been working so hard all their life, all of a sudden gets that break. And then there's the scene where he invites her on stage and has her sing for everyone, and which gives me chills right now.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's really well done, and that some of that's in the trailer.
Yes.
And
when I say all of that's in the trailer.
When I saw the trailer for it originally, I would get chills, and I was like, "This kind of looks bad," but then the reviews were very good, I just don't know, if you like music, regardless of whether or not you like country music, I think there's something moving about just the way.
But it does segue. It goes from like this country rock, and then it goes into more pop toward the end of the film.
So that's part of the conflict of the movie, which is. So you have these. The premise of the film is that these two stars you have Bradley Cooper's character is kind of on the downfall of his career, and she's becoming a star, obviously, according to the title. And there's a point where they kind of converge. That's where they kind of fall in love, and there's this spark, which both makes her career and ultimately ends his.
So I'm
gonna take my damn mic also, so you can hear more of my breathing. But anyway, and it's part of the conflict of the film, though, is that she is more of kind of a traditional modern pop singer, I don't think I mean, well, I don't. I mean, there's a conflict that occurs because of that, because he doesn't, to some degree, feels like she's selling out.
Yeah.
But it's actually who she wanted to be all along.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
And so that's definitely creates some tension, and I think both of them are just fantastic.
Yeah, they've both been nominated.
This is definitely a performance type movie. It's not really, and there's plot to this film, but it's you're seeing the downfall of the Bradley Cooper character and the rise of Lady Gaga. And she's spectacular. I mean, she does what she does. And I just feel like we forget that she's as talented as she is.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, because the movie does so well to downplay that, her mousy character and how she grows. Yeah.
But it's really well shot, and I feel like all the performances, like the musical performances in this movie, feel like live. I mean, they're exciting and great to watch, and and it's kind of a tragic film, and I think I don't know how closely like each specific piece ties to the original the versions.
And it's funny that you say that, because like the 70s would be the closest, because again, music was big in the 70s. But I mean, the one before that is in the 50s with Judy Garland, and that plays more for the dramatic effect. I know she's a singer, but I don't remember if she's like what type of singer she is. Remember, back in the 50s, pop wasn't a big thing, so
Sure.
she's probably more of a modern singer, where he's more of a classical singer, a classic big band thing.
Gotcha.
And then the original, again, I mean, I've never seen the original Star is Born, but that also has a bit, where this is that's like 1934, I think. So I'm pretty sure I need to check it out. Like, what type of music was big back in the 30s? So, but yeah, I think that I think it's the musical styles that differ from every film. But the one in the 70s to now is probably more in line, where it's more of a direct remake. You know what I mean? Whereas the other ones, I think it's just the concept or the basic storyline, which is what they took from. But yeah, go on.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot else to say about the movie. Yeah. It's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a performance-driven movie, and there's some thematic elements to it that we could get into. But ultimately, it's just a movie about these two characters kind of converging on their paths, and I think Bradley Cooper's performance is spectacular. So I think it's worth seeing.
I mean, looking at his competition, and we can get that to later, but I think he might have a shot. I think
we'll see. I hope so. Because Ethan Hawke wasn't nominated.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think we'll look over that list again, because I kind of glanced over and was like, "Fuck that," and haven't revisited it since.
I got you.
So the next one's on our list is we're never gonna get through all these movies.
No, I might. We're doing good.
You've seen A Dark Song?
I have not.
Okay, so we'll skip that because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll do have you seen The Ritual on Netflix?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So The Ritual is essentially the plot of Blair Witch.
I was going to say, it's an English Blair Witch. Basically, we're all boys.
But no found footage. It's shot like a normal movie. It's shot like a regular film, And a bunch of... So essentially, in the opening scenes, the lead character goes into a... convenient drugstore, and is shopping, and the place gets held up, and his friend gets like violently murdered, and he doesn't do anything to stop it. And his group of friends go and do kind of a funeral for him in the mountains, and on their way back, somebody trips and like hurts their leg, and so they try and take a shortcut through the woods, and they find a house in the woods with a kind of horrifying Wicker Man style.
Nice use of the Wicker Man.
Figure without a head, in a form of prayer up in the attic. And they all start having these horrifying nightmares, and bad things happen to everyone. So that's the whole premise of the movie. It's definitely a survival film, and with kind of cult elements to it. I think so. What I really like about it is it looks great.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
It's nice to see a horror film produced, and we'll talk about Hereditary, which is amazing looking. But it's nice to I'm glad that we're transitioning towards movies that aren't shot in shaky cam, found footage style.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. Like, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Blair Witch 2 like a couple months ago. I was just like, I fucking hate this movie.
Wait, Blair Witch Part 2 or Blair Witch as well?
The remake of Blair Witch.
That was horrible.
By Adam Wingard.
Adam Wingard, which is one of our favorite directors. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, just bad movie.
I don't know what happened with that.
And there's some moments in it that I think are interesting to look at, but
Agreed.
Overall, it's just a bunch of people running around. And it's just anyway. So this movie doesn't have that, which is great, right? I think there's some stuff at the end with the monster that I don't. So I enjoy that they don't show you the monster until the very end, and I like the design of it. But I think I lost interest when it becomes kind of a supernatural horror film.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And obviously, we knew that was coming from the kills in the opening act of the movie. But at the same time, I'm not saying that it's well done. And I said, the creature design is really cool. And I don't find that scary personally. So I found myself kind of tapering off towards the end of the film. But overall, it's really well produced.
I liked it a lot.
I was definitely more engaged in it than I thought I would be. And for Netflix, I want more of this kind of stuff.
Agreed. We didn't say it's a Netflix film, and I know it's funny because I if you think about this, it's like some things he didn't tell you, but I'll go real quick because again, this has been on Netflix for over 6 months. The lead character, the kid from Harry Potter. He happens to be the lesser friend. The friend who gets murdered in the beginning is like the friend everyone loves. He's like the bee's knees. And the lead actor is just like the guy like, hey, he's a dick. He always says stupid shit. So they kind of blame him, for
not stepping in. And
like later on as the film builds up, you see that there's a lot of resentment toward it. But the funny thing is he's the only one who survives. He's an asshole who survives at the end. And I feel like that's kind of fucked up because this whole film is like, he actually spearheaded the film because of what happened and everything. And then this happens. But I liked it. Like, again, it's not, when I put it on the list, The Ritual and The Apostle were the two films. I was like, which one do I want to pick?
I think Apostle.
And The Apostle's 10 times better. Yeah. But The Ritual, I did like it a lot. I just didn't love it, because like you said, I mean, I don't mind monster movies, but I didn't even like the monster the way it was. I thought it was kind of cheesy, like this bone monster thing. I was like, but
it reminds me of a Dark Souls boss. Like it's like it has like these human arms, which I enjoy.
No, I got you. But like you said, it's a video game.
But it definitely it feels like it heads into that territory of like I don't really care about this anymore.
I got you.
But it looks cool and it's really well done. So I love the sequences where it shows the flashback. But inside of the forest, like
the surreal dream sequence.
So he'll essentially like turn, and all of a sudden you see the convenience store where his friend was murdered, but it's like embedded inside of the forest and he steps inside of it, and like the floor is the forest, but the
grassy and everything.
It's really cool.
That was well done. I like that.
I love that kind of stuff in horror films. I want more. Like I want horror to transition into that, like just visually. I don't know. I just am more.
Is the next film Hereditary, or we're gonna?
We have to do Mary Poppins, Cam. The Fyre
well, let me just say this before we get there because I want to build it up. Again, you all know my background. I love I study 70s film. Now with horror film, I remember it's what you're saying. Like you got Texas Chainsaw. Well, let me start off Night of the Living Dead. Then you have Texas Chainsaw. Then you have Halloween, and Halloween was the beginning of this renaissance in Hollywood where you have all these independent companies that came and they were taking over the theater money. So right after Halloween,
they were producing films for a nickel,
and they were making billions. And so Hollywood was like, wait, now we're going to do that. And there was this little resurgence from 1978 to like 1982, where Hollywood started doing Universal, Paramount started making horror films on this grand scale with big actors, Tony Curtis, and you had these giant big actors. What's his name? Gun Control. Chuck Heston was in The Mummy or The Egyptian or whatever it was called, but they were just. It was just like, they kind of trying to get the like they looked like they were imitating, but they were like, oh, we could do it better, but they weren't, because when horror films started becoming big in the 70s, it was that grit, it was that dirt, it was like, I don't have a lot of money, so I'm going to do it with this things. But when you got a lot of money, they were like you were mentioning, and this is why I think we said about Ritual, and we're going to go into Hereditary later. It looked good, but it was just really stupid. You know what I mean? It was like no. I'm talking about the horror films, the big budget Hollywood horror films of the late 70s And then horror died out in 82, and then that was that. But I'm just saying, compared to now, where even though A24, I still consider, it's not Universal, it's not Paramount, it's not Warner Brothers, but A24 is up and coming. And they make artistic horror films, and it's not even like and it's not even like The Witch.
Hereditary is A24, isn't it?
Hereditary is A24, and that's why I'm bringing it up. In The Witch, you're right, and I'm saying
I think they're just distributors, though. To be fair, I think they just buy movies that are in their brand and market them and release them. I think is what they do. I don't because they don't produce them. I think they work with filmmakers. Or with producers,
okay.
To like, I don't know if I don't quite understand A24's role in the production of films. I think they're more on the post production and like marketing side, but they definitely find they have Claire Denis has a new movie. It's High Life with Robert Pattinson. It looks fantastic. I can't. It's like my most anticipated. It looks amazing.
I want to see it. Yeah.
And Claire Denis, a great director, French director, I think.
Yeah. But the point was that their movies are artistic, but not art house movies.
Yes.
Very well
They're
done.
produced at a high level.
High level, yeah. And we'll get more into Hereditary because there's a lot of stuff I missed. And my 14-year-old daughter, saw it more than I did. And then I watched it again. So
yeah, we'll get to Hereditary.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about that. I'm excited that I forgot that you hadn't seen it. That was my favorite film of this past year.
Yeah.
And I hold to that. It's great. But yeah, we'll get back to that. But for now, let's talk about Mary Poppins Returns.
All right, let's go.
So part of my so I don't think I've ever actually seen Mary Poppins.
The original, right?
The original.
I haven't either. I'm going to say. I mean, Rhonda hates it because Rhonda loves that movie, but I can't do it.
I don't know if it's just because I knew I wouldn't care or what. And. I think it's what I described earlier. I think it's because midway through this movie, I was like, it's delightful, right? It really is. It's a delightful little movie. I'm not a fan of the original because I don't know if I've actually seen it. So I don't care whether or not this movie should have been made. That's a whole other discussion for people that really care.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just the performance. Everybody's doing. It's very classical. Kind of enjoyable, really well produced, high budget musical. In the same way, for the same reasons I love like a movie like La La Land, that are these kind of classical, and we just don't get movies like that anymore. That are just every. I don't know. There's a scene in it. I actually made a note about that where we're first introduced to the character played by he's in Skyfall. He plays Q. in Skyfall. I'm going blank on
who, the old man?
No.
Okay, so who plays Q?
I didn't want to have to IMDb
Michael
Mary
Banks?
Poppins. No.
Oh, the girl.
No.
Wait,
is it Q? What's his fucking name?
Q. Remember Q now is an old lady.
It's Ben Whishaw. Michael Banks is the character.
Okay, Michael Banks. Yeah.
But Ben Whishaw, whatever.
Okay.
He and his sister are played by Emily Mortimer, who's just delightful. She's great. I want her in more movies. His wife passed away. Yeah. I acquired that information via watching this movie.
Rhonda's my source of all this.
And so there's this kind of I think the core storyline, which is that Ben Whishaw's his character's wife passed away, and so he's kind of piecing together she was the one that did a lot of the financial side,
really?
And so they may lose the house, and they may and so there's something there. Like I appreciate the story of that. And so you have this kind of tragic kind of financial struggle with, and then you have this delightful escape, right? Which is kind of what Mary Poppins is.
What the original was too, yeah.
And there's something really enjoyable about that. I think Emily Blunt is just fantastic. I think she's made for the role.
Exactly, I agree.
Again, and Lin-Manuel Miranda is great as well. I just think it's just a fun little delightful trip to the movies, and I don't think we get movies like this often enough. And anyway, the whole point of me going on that tangent was that there's a sequence where we were introduced to the Ben Whishaw's character. I don't know how the hell to pronounce his name.
Ben Whishaw. Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But there's like a leak in the house or something, and these lawyers are coming to tell them that they're going to lose the house, basically. And so they knock on the door, and the door opens up, and you see kind of this chaos unfolding, which is like the kids running around, and the camera's following everything, and it's a movie that's it's performed like a play. So you have like more. So you just don't. I feel like you don't see it in film like. I mean, you have blocking and stuff like that where characters are moving around, but this is like just choreographed and orchestrated. Like the kids run down the stairs and the camera follows them into the kitchen, and he comes running out to open the door, and it's just there's so many things happening, and but it feels it's just really well made, and I appreciate that about it. So it's fine. It's not spectacular. We started Paddington 2, which is way better. Oh my god,
I still got to see that. Those
movies are great. But I don't know if it quite reaches that level of like I care.
I think it's this, and again, I mean, I know not to say nothing. I mean, Jeremy is one of my favorite people because his love for film is true. And I love the old Hollywood style musicals. I do. I ended up Singing in the Rain. I didn't really watch Mary Poppins, but I think what you just said there is like. Their camera technique, I mean, of course, Orson Welles and Kane changed the game. But like you said, like how a tracking shot could just come down the stairs, follow the kid, and go this way and go over. And you're right, there's no need to do that anymore. I mean, we're not in the 50s, we're not, or 60s and showing people, oh, look what we can do with camera stuff. But it is, I agree with you that I do miss that. It's like I can sit down.
There's kind of a magic to it.
Yes, the magic of Hollywood, which
Which is why I love La La Land.
Yeah, and La La Land is like that. And I think that I would love to see another movie like that, in a modern setting. I mean, I could definitely watch those old, Hollywood films, but I would love to see it done now. Like you said, if you said Mary Poppins did it, I mean, that was more of an homage to the original Disney, but La La Land was more of an original, and it brought that back to me. I think, and watching, like I said, I've watched La La Land like 4 or 5 times. It never gets old. It's amazing. Camera work, just that old style, and that's what gives me. I'm like,
the performances are great.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen La La Land, you're an idiot.
Ryan Gosling's the best. I love Ryan.
I love him in that movie. I love him in Nice Guys. I saw it too recently.
I'm a huge fan.
Nice Guys.
Oh, Nice Guys is amazing.
Great movie. He's amazing.
Yeah, I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Crowe brought back. I was like, oh my god, finally,
he's the new Brad Pitt. I feel like he's a guy that has not only range, but he's funny and charismatic and all these things, but also can play these, like in Blade Runner, can play these really brooding kind of dark characters. He's amazing. But anyway, that's a complete unnecessary tangent. Sorry, I guess I just get a little worked up when we talk about Ryan Gosling, but Mary Poppins is fine. It's good. It's a good movie. You should go see it.
I'll take Ron then. I will.
Yeah, it's delightful.
It's delightful.
The next one we'll do, I'm going to do this quickly, not because it's bad, but because there's just not a lot to say about it, is the Netflix Blumhouse film Cam. Which is essentially a movie about a cam girl who has a pretty big following, but she's climbing the ladder of popularity on whatever website they use, and all of a sudden she's competing to kind of get to the top, and she starts trying things that are more violent in order to get there, and she like eventually
porn or
I think she cuts her throat on camera, not real, but does this performance where but it get the sense that people want the more extreme.
Yeah, I got you.
And even if it's performance. And so she one day gets locked out of her account and then finds out that her stream is still going live. And so there's this person that she thinks is imitating her. I won't go. I can't go into what's happening because of spoilers.
So the poster just summed it up.
It's really really interesting. But so her channel gets taken over by this person and who looks exactly like her, and everyone thinks it's her. But the difference is that that person is taking these things to way more extreme. Levels, she has a rule where she never tells her fans that she loves them because she doesn't want them to connect on that level.
I got you. Yeah.
And this person that's imitating her is telling, I love all you guys, and and so she's breaking all these rules, and so she is trying to not only because it's her financial, that's how she makes money. So she's not making any money anymore.
I got
she is desperate to try and kind of find out what's happening. And it's just really, it's produced by Blumhouse. I'm not surprised that it's well made, but it's again a movie that really looks good. Like the production design is like the sets are really detailed, and I don't know. It feels like work was put into this. And I'm surprised, but maybe because of the subject matter, or the fact that it was released on Netflix and I hadn't really heard about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a really slick, kind of
well produced. Yeah.
Netflix, like what would be traditionally kind of a B movie, was made with the love and care of a Hollywood feature.
Yeah.
And it's not spectacular. But I mean, it's interesting, and it doesn't shy. It's definitely rated R, which it doesn't feel like a PG-13 horror film. Like there's nudity, and it definitely dives into the culture of these weird online, cam girl. Like that's just an odd kind of world that we dive into.
Yeah.
And it's very creepy and kind of. I don't know. It's good. There's not a whole lot. That's why I said we're going to do this quick. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's on Netflix. It's worth seeing. I think it's one of the better Netflix titles.
Yeah.
I don't actually know because it didn't get a theatrical release.
No. Well, yeah, straight to Netflix.
So anyway, it's good. See that.
Definitely want
all
to
these
check
movies
it
are
out.
good.
Maybe
See
I'll
them.
see it tonight.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
It's quick. It's only an hour and a half, so I can check that out tonight.
Yeah, it's worth seeing. The next film on my list is the other Netflix documentary, Fyre. It's called Fyre. Fyre. Everybody's talking about it. You've heard about it probably. Yeah. It's my favorite thing that's happened in the past 5 years. It's the most baffling
I know.
internet sensation.
When you hear about it, you're like, what?
And from a business perspective, as somebody who runs a business, I can't believe, like, if never has a business failed their customer base so spectacularly in the eye of social media. It's just unbelievable. And this documentary just discusses kind of what went into that disaster. And the disaster was that these bunch of millionaires like Ja Rule and a bunch of Instagram models went to this private island and filmed this extravagant promo video for this island festival called Fyre Fest, where they have the big lineup of the biggest artists and the biggest stars. It's just a bunch of like Instagram models like running around on the beach and like on yachts and just hanging out partying. And so they're pitching kind of this extravagant lifestyle. And as in this Fyre documentary, the Billy, I forgot his last name, the guy who put this festival on, and he describes it
Billy
as
McFarlane.
And he's not knowing that he's being filmed, not knowing that this will end up in a documentary. He says something along the lines of like, "We're selling a pipe dream to the average loser," is what he says. And it's like, fuck. It's just from that line on in that documentary, it's like this guy's such an asshole.
He's a dick. Yeah.
And so they're like I just described, they're selling this island adventure to the average consumer that has money. Not the average consumer, but a
lot of people saved up a lot of money, took out loans for this thing. It was like about $3,000 per ticket or something like that.
At least, yeah. And they promised like these private villas and these
extravagant food, all the food you can have and drink.
I think like Coachella does some kind of tent thing. They're imitating that style. They talk about that in the documentary, but they sold out the fest in like no time. Yeah. And then found out that there was no way, from an infrastructure standpoint, that they could possibly put this on. And then, as some of you may know from Twitter and from the massive social media disaster that occurred, the festival got canceled. But they had already gotten a bunch of people to the island, and they just weren't prepared for it. Yeah. And it's a complete disaster, and it's fascinating to watch unfold in this documentary. I think the documentary is not as good as its subject. Like, I think it's really well made, and I mean, it's edited well, and there's interesting interviews and whatnot. But I think the festival itself is interesting enough to drive an hour and a half long documentary. So it's hard to kind of the movie doesn't have like some kind of revelation towards the end. I mean, they get into kind of the concern with the lifestyle on social media and kind of the concept of making it look like you're living the best life. So they kind of briefly get into that, but for the most part, my mic keeps popping. I apologize. For the most part, it's just kind of I don't know. The movie doesn't have like a solid point. It's more just telling the story.
Well, telling the story, and the story is like a fascinating.
The story is fascinating enough to make this.
And I'm not sure which one, Hulu or Netflix, tells you what happened to him in the end. I mean, and the funny thing, not even with this, he got away with this one. It's what he did afterward that got him.
Which is unbelievable.
Yes, I know. And he ended up going to jail anyway, but for something similar to it, but not exactly it. But yeah.
But you got to see it. Yeah, I think it's. I've been telling everybody to watch this. I've seen this like 3 times now. It's the Netflix one at least. I haven't finished the Hulu one. But, the other one. I don't know, man. I just still can't believe that this happened.
It's amazing, yeah.
But that will bring us to the last, but definitely not least, Hereditary.
Yes.
Which, as all of you know, is my favorite film of last year.
And I understand why.
And now we're going to talk about it with spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers alerts.
Because Carlos has now seen it.
I've seen it now. I want to say this, though. I'm into reaction videos on YouTube. I mean, the kids love it. And my youngest daughter, Emma, 11 years old, because of me and Gloriana's reactions, she literally filmed us. And watching it afterward, I was like, but this movie... it's funny because he's talking about Loved One, how that haunted him. And I just saw Hereditary. That movie haunts me still because of the imagery.
Rosemary's Baby is the one that haunted me.
Oh, Rosemary's Baby. Okay. So
Loved Ones is too funny for it to be terrifying and scary. But
I don't know. I'm just saying I've never seen. I think the closest thing I've seen to this film, and a big film. This is a big film. It's like it's a big Hollywood film too, but it's being nominated for Best Picture. But
no, it isn't.
Wait, hold on.
No.
Let me go back.
I don't think it got any nominations.
No, that's right.
Which is the biggest travesty of 2018.
Yeah, look at that. But I think maybe because it's a horror film.
It's a horror film.
But I'll tell you this much.
And it's still kind of critically mixed. People are mixed on it. It got good reviews for the most part. But
I'll say this. I've never seen a film like it. Never seen a film like it. And if there is another film coming soon, I mean...
Am I out of turn by saying that it may be one of the best horror films ever made? I mean,
I would say yes, only because there's nothing. Everyone knows me; I got a big mouth. I don't think I've ever seen a film where I was speechless.
Yeah,
speechless. I didn't know what to say or do. And at one point, I was like, "This is a dream sequence. This is a dream. It's not real. It's not even happening. We're gonna wake. The kid's gonna wake up, or the mom's gonna wake up." And then the movie just kept going and going, and I was like, "But when is they gonna say that this didn't happen?" And the fact that everything happens, and then the end, and it's amazing. The ending is
just stuff keeps happening.
Yeah, it's like, and then it's like the ending explains it all 1,000,000,000%. There might be a little bit questions here and there, but I don't care. It actually does sum up everything at the end. There's little clues.
So excited.
Yeah, it's like I wish my daughter. I should have had with Gloriana here just to talk about it because it's like we sat there and I just couldn't believe it, and then. Like, there's so many little things that if you go back and watch it again, there's little clues that pick up that lead to this ending. And again, if you want to do spoilers, we can do it.
We're doing spoilers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen Hereditary, you should see it.
Go see it. It's on Amazon Prime. It came out a year ago.
I've seen it like 10, 12 times probably.
Oh, my God. It's just and then you talk about Rosemary's Baby. I mean, it bordered like, which, of course, influenced Exorcist. The scenes with the mother, at the end of the film when everything starts coming together, and she's like on the walls and crying. Oh my God, that was fucking amazing. And then, like you said about how good a movie can look, like the use of shadows, the use of color. Like I love, and I don't know if you noticed it, but you probably did, you showed it 12 times, but I didn't catch it until Gloriana told me that Toni Collette's character. Oh my God, what's your name? You had it up there.
Oh, I don't know her character's name.
But yeah, but Toni Collette's Anne. She every time you see her in the house. Her clothes match the wall, the scenery, everything. So when she's walking down the hallway, there's one scene where the hallway has a beige, where the moldings are beige and the walls are brown because it's and she's wearing beige pants and a brown shirt. Yes. And then there's another scene later on where she's walking in Joanne's apartment. Joanne has this like nice floral color, like a pinkish and a brown, and she's wearing brown pants and pink. It's like she matches like the room. Remember, she builds little miniature houses for her art, and it's like. Again, bringing the whole tone that this is all happening within, like everything's happening microscopically in these homes, and it was just fucking amazing. It was like, and Gloriana said, "Oh my God, look, her clothes match the thing," and I didn't even catch it until the third time. I saw it and when we watched it again, I was like, but go ahead. I want you to do spoilers because I hate doing spoilers. Yeah. But go ahead, you do it.
Let's go through what happens in this film.
Yeah,
so, because I think and there's no reason to introduce it. We've already talked about the plot in previous episodes that haven't even been released. But I think there's a moment in the film. Well, there's the biggest moment of the film is when the Charlie gets her head knocked off, right?
Which I couldn't believe. You may kill a major character within the first 20 minutes of the movie or 30 minutes of the movie.
And the way that this movie was sold was that she plays a pivotal role
in
what happens. But we all thought, especially according to the way that modern horror films have moved, with The Omen and with, and that's not a modern horror film.
I thought she was the evil presence.
Exactly, everyone did. And so when they kill her halfway through the movie, not only is it just a shocking, spectacular, it's unbelievable that happened. It also, the way it impacts all the characters in the film and the way the dynamic that it sets up from that way on.
Oh my God,
It's like the movie's like, it's on, right? Yeah. It's like, and this scene and the way that scene is executed is masterful, right?
Yes, no doubt.
So, we see obviously she eats nuts, which she's allergic to. They set up in the first scene,
and they chopping up the walnuts, and then you're still like, oh, she's gonna eat all that chocolate cake, that little girl, and then you don't even put one and one together. And then when she starts doing it, I was like, oh my shit, I like a glow. I said, the walnuts.
and like you feel kind of this like your chest locks up.
Yes.
And you're like, oh no.
Oh my God. Right. And he's stoned out of his fucking mind, this kid, the brother. Oh my God.
And then you hear the thud that happens when her head hits the post. And it's like, and then you go, oh, right. And then he slams on the brakes and just parks the car and tries to look up into the rearview mirror and can't look. And it's haunting, right?
But that whole scene then.
And then he drives home slowly
and we were sitting there.
Gets out of his car.
He's going home? Where is he not going to the hospital? Why is he not going to police?
Yeah.
And and then he gets out, and then the lights turn off. The light turns on when he gets there in the house. They have a sensor light, and then he just goes in and goes to bed. And I'm like, this is a dream sequence. This is not even happening. And then the next day he's still in the same spot where he's staring out of
him. He hasn't slept.
He hasn't slept. The parents are like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the store and get a few things. And then you hear her screaming.
And it's the most horrifying thing I've seen.
I know. As a parent, I'm like, but nothing. I'm like, this is not even happening. Is it happening? Can this actually be happening in a horror movie? Oh my God.
and then it's Red Letter Media. They're talking about it. I bring this up every time I see it because there's almost a comedy bit with her scream.
Yeah.
So the Red Letter Media describes it. So the way they do it is she screams and you hear that just horrifying. You see the look in his eyes when you hear that scream. It's just that's horror at its purest form.
Yes. As a parent,
and then she keeps screaming, and the movie kind of it's like a cut to, but using her audio of her scream as a transition. So it's like cut to her sobbing in the bedroom, which is a horrible, just the it's kind of the image of her on the floor saying, "I want to die."
I want to die.
And her husband, played by Gabriel Byrne, trying to comfort her but not knowing what to do, and because he's dealing with it as well. And then it's just she's screaming, and then it cuts to that scene. I forget what order.
Funeral. Then it goes to the funeral.
She's still screaming, and cuts to the funeral. She's just like, ah! And it's that's the transition you normally use in a comedy, which is it's just every time I see that now, it's almost funny because Ari Aster is known for doing these really dark comedies. I haven't actually seen. I need to go back and watch the Robin. I forgot what the name of the movie is, but about the family. I don't know anything about it, so I don't want to get it spoiled. But one of his earlier. This is his directorial debut, which is, I can't believe.
Strange Things About the Johnsons.
That one, yeah. So it's a comedy horror, I think. I don't know a ton about it, but anyway, he's known for doing these really dark comedies. And so there's moments in this film that I think could be played that way if you see them that way. But anyway, but ultimately, like I said, that's one of the most horrifying concepts for a family to ever happen, right? To a family, and so that in itself, especially you have kids. I don't know. I had a physical reaction to the theater. I think I saw it with 2 other people, And I was like, are you seeing this?
That's what I did. I was like, I couldn't believe what's going on. I was like, holy shit.
And then the rest of the movie happens, and it's like, and not only is it interesting to watch these characters, so when the mother dies, you can tell that none of them really care. And there's this and so it's interesting to see kind of their reaction to that family member passing away, and then just to watch them grieve and feel guilt. And there's this amazing sequence at the dinner table with Toni Collette and
blows up on Peter
and Alex Wolff. Everybody. So I saw this 3 or 4 times in the theaters, and I got different reactions from every audience. Obviously, like I said, the first crowd I saw it with was like 2 people, and then especially when it comes to the Alex Wolff character, though, I saw a lot of different reactions. People laughing and stuff. Like I was like, I don't know how you can laugh at this film. Yeah. Because I guess people just go and laugh at horror films in general. Maybe.
Remember, they say that when someone is scared, you react nervously, and the first thing you do is you like laugh so you won't cry or.
Yes, but that's the nature. This was more in the way that I would go laugh at The Bye Bye Man, right? A movie that deserves no one's time, right? It was made fun of in the theater with people, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is as good as it gets."
Well, listen, I want to, and this is just a quick aside. When we saw me and Frank Crespo saw Schindler's List, when Ray Fiennes' character, after he has that intense scene with Liam Neeson, and Liam Neeson's walking away. To kind of like say, fuck you, he starts shooting.
He shoots the guy.
And I laughed. But it was because I was like, holy fucking shit. But I laughed. And I remember in the theater, packed with people in Manhattan. And this motherfucker is like he had every right. He was like, oh my God, like at me. But it was just a nervous reaction. I was kind of upset because I knew Ray Fiennes' character was doing it like to just say a fuck you to Liam Neeson's character because Liam Neeson put his foot in his ass.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was a nervous reaction, so I laughed. And I see what you're saying about why people laugh. I think I laughed.
Feel that way.
I think I laughed in the beginning, kind of. I was like, oh my God, these people aren't feeling it. Maybe whatever happens to them, they deserve it.
Sure.
And that was my first thought. I was like, damn, the daughter doesn't get. But then that scene where she's at the.
Because they are pretty unlikable characters.
Yes, and I felt like, I'm not gonna react. This movie's gonna suck because I even hate these people. But then, like later on, when Toni Collette's in the grieving, counseling thing. And that scene, I'm kind of like,
she describes like the fingers.
Yeah, like she talks about her mother, and then she starts to feel. And
you're talking about the scene in that's actually before Charlie dies. I think it before or after?
No, it was before Charlie dies, but it's when we introduce Joanne.
Yes,
it's Joanne's introduction.
After that scene. Because she's in the circle.
She's in the circle. Remember, he goes, "Oh, you want to share?" She goes, "No," and then she shares, and it's like she's nonstop, opens up.
Well, and what I love about that, so I love, and there's so many details to this film, which is what I think makes it just one. Again, like I described, one of the best horror films of all time. I think it's a great movie, and I don't think I'm hyping it that way for the reasons we'll get into.
You're right. He's 100%.
So,
correct,
and part of the reason I've seen this 12 times is because I'm so fascinated by some of the things she describes, which is like she describes her brother killing himself because he thought that his mom was trying to put people inside her or something is what he describes. It's so you hear that line originally in the first
little
watch
lines,
and you go,
Charlie's lines. Oh, she always wanted me to be a boy. That plays at the end. Exactly. That thing with the brother plays at the end.
Yeah, there's all these little details that they describe to you in dialogue. That obviously, when you're watching it the first time, you go, oh, okay. But then when you watch it again, you're like, this movie has set up every little aspect, and not only is it all obviously tied together at the end, but I think there's the way that the horror of this film is in the details, right? Yes. So and it's 100%. In the scenes that you don't see. So you see, like for instance, there's a great one of the models that she builds.
Yes.
Has an image of her mom standing in the doorway watching her.
Creepily.
And then there's a weird one where she's trying to breastfeed the Charlie.
And she said, remember, before you see that, she says, she always wanted you. She even wanted to feed you. And you're thinking, with the spoon, with the Gerber on it. Yeah. And then you see that, and then you realize how fucking insane her grandmother was that she wanted to breastfeed. And she said, and she always did. She never let me do it. Yeah. And then you see that, and you're like, holy shit, the grandmother actually fucking breastfed her granddaughter. And it's like...
Well, and then she describes, like, them having... Like, when her son was born, she originally had to... And I don't necessarily... Even though I've seen this movie like 12 times, I haven't watched a ton of, like, what happened in Hereditary type videos. So I don't understand every detail of this film.
I do want to watch one of those because they explain King Paimon.
Yeah, which is just he's a real, or not real. He's a real person.
Yeah. But it's the demon.
It's a real like lore character. That
and I do want to see that.
I don't know if he's referenced in the Bible.
He is also in the Bible
as one of like Satan's.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it ultimately, well, I mean, it matters from a standpoint of like what that character is and what he requires in order to.
I mean, you don't necessarily need to know his background for the film.
No,
I now want to, like I did with Bird Box, to read up on these demons. But yes, I definitely want to look into that. And my daughter too. We were gonna do it that night, but she was so scared we couldn't. but I the details. It's these one little lines. I mean, like I said, I've never seen a film where you don't really need the fish. You just got to remember the details. It's all in the details, as they say. And it's like, were you watching the film? Then you pick them all up. And then you've got to watch it again because there's probably other ones there. But it's those one little lines because, like I said, when she said that about the mother, again, you just see it in context. Like, she wanted to feed you, strained peas. And then you see that miniature model with the breast coming out. And you're like, holy shit, does it go to that level?
There's even a concept that she's in. So there's I don't know, this is maybe just a theory, but there's this concept that Toni Collette's character is somewhat, even though she doesn't fully understand it until the end, is somewhat aware that this is happening inherently, like in her nature. And so there's this line where she says that she tried to kill the child. She tried to kill Charlie. Or Peter?
Peter.
Peter.
She tried to kill Peter. Yeah.
She tried to like abort him, but couldn't, right?
Yeah, she said
and so what's interesting is like this character doesn't know that that's important. Right, she's learning that as the movie goes along, and we're learning that.
But that's a dream sequence. You got to be honest. That's a dream sequence.
Yes, but
it's news to us. Yeah.
Well, but I think there's more. There's more to that, though. Yeah. There's something about like the fact that she tried to keep her son away from her.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, she tried to kill him so he wouldn't have to be part of that.
But she didn't know what that was.
Exactly. It's like you said. It's in the background. Like they were.
It's hereditary. There's an instinctual. Nice she's trying to save her children from what inevitably happens, but there's just nothing she can do.
And it's like with horrifying. Her brother, because maybe that's why. Maybe she didn't know because her brother was 16 or 17. She said, so she was younger, obviously.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe she picked up on this stuff as a kid because that's what happens. Like again, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, as a 47-year-old man, sometimes I'll get a flashback to something. And I'm like. Oh shit! That actually happened in my life.
And you finally you contextualize it in a way that gives it meaning.
Exactly.
And I think, and so there's these scenes which feel like dreams, but it's really just her understanding what she's already experienced.
Agreed.
And that's amazing. Like just from a directorial and a writing standpoint, like that's a really good script.
It's amazing.
Because we're having this conversation and we're talking through it.
Nominated for a script.
No, it's not nominated for anything. It's fucking assholes at the Oscars.
Which we're not going to be able to talk about today. I'll do that the next show.
But I don't know, man. I just think it's spectacular. I've said spectacular 14 times this episode.
Like I said, when you put it as number one, I was like, I said, I know it's going to be good, but I said, let me see if it's. But it's just, I've never seen. I'm 47 years old, and I've seen horror films is what I was born inside me. My mother took me to see my first horror film when I was 5, The Omen. But I'm just saying,
you could make this movie could be a horror film though. Without the horror,
correct.
Without what happens at the end.
The ending makes it a horror film.
I'm not gonna be able to find his tweet.
Yeah, but the ending makes it like we discussed before. That's what makes it a horror film. The ending, like I said with Bird Box, what makes it a horror film is the whole demon background. But again, you're right. You could say it's a psychological horror film.
Yeah.
If you took out the ending, you'd be like,
then it becomes a horror film.
Horror film, yeah, correct. And it's an amazing film. I mean, I can't stop talking about it.
Well,
I mean, anyone like me, I can go on and on about it.
I don't know, like the sequence where he runs up into the attic and obviously discovers that all the shit's happening and the body's gone.
And the manipulation of that scene, it's like
and you start hearing
oh my god, and then
it cuts to her slamming her head on the ceiling. It's amazing.
I gotta look. I'm gonna read up on Ari Aster's influences because The Shining had a lot. It was a lot of Shining in there because Shining is a lot of psychological. The opening with the car driving. Yeah. But that scene where he's like, check it out. When the radio when he takes all the parts from the car and he's talking to Wendy and he has that shot where it looks like he's looking up. So hold on a second. I don't know why she's doing that, but Yeah, let me just turn this off.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so it's like that scene where he's down and saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," and she's like, "Boom, boom, boom," and then it's her doing that with her head.
Yeah.
And then right away, The Shining came to me. Where Wendy's on this side of the room and Jack's on that side of the room, and I'm like, "Holy cow!" But that scene was amazing, and even Gloriana was like, she was like digging her claws into me because I'm like, she's banging her head like digging like a woodpecker with her face against that thing, and I'm like. It's just amazing. It's amazing. But anyway,
it's visually spectacular as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's so well shot and like composed. I don't know. It's just, like the sequence. So then let's talk about the scene where Peter wakes up in the middle of the night to her standing in his room, which I think is one of the scariest moments in horror history for me. Right. So the concept is that he wakes up to his mom standing in his room. And they start yelling at each other. She's like, "What are you doing, Mom?" And she's like, "I'm sorry for the way I've acted," all this stuff. And he's like, I didn't. And she started talking through, like rambling, right? And she's like, I didn't want to have you. I tried to, and then you find out that she tried to kill him.
Yeah, she tried to kill him.
And so that's horrifying. He's like, "What? You didn't want to have me, or whatever?" And then all of a sudden, and it's cutting back and forth between the two of them. And then all of a sudden, she's wet from what they described earlier.
That was a great shot. Yeah, that was a great
shot. And it's just a moment of like you, oh fuck, it's and then you cut and she's on fire all of a sudden. It's unbelievable because not only is that, I don't know, the concept of like waking up to someone in your room at night is scary enough as is, but it being a family member and them having like, and I don't know if Peter remembers when what she described as her covering that, which is another thing of her inherently trying to stop this, which is her covering her children.
And I think, like you said, I think maybe he does, but he's just so young. Maybe
paint thinner is what she
paint thinner. Yeah.
But like, so that's the other like argument towards what I was just describing earlier, which is that that she again like at night she sleepwalks. And it's her brain instinctually trying to prevent what's happening.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And so that's like her attempting to murder her own children is her attempting to stop that, even though she doesn't understand why. And from ultimately becoming anyway, that's horrifying in itself. And the concept of like, I don't know, it being your own family member is horrifying, like because we trust your family more than anyone else.
Of course.
And so
your mom, especially,
just there's something really creepy about that. And then there's these great details, like there's I think it's the scene where Peter wakes up and so you have these traditional horror setups, which is he wakes up in the middle of the night because he hears or whatever, I think is why, and then he glances at the corner of his room and and it's very quick. He glances at the corner of his room and sees like a chair like kind of like this one right next to us. There's a chair with a hoodie on it or whatever.
Yes.
But the camera, he glances at it, whip pans to it, and then cuts back to his reaction.
Yes.
and then realizes it's just a chair. And it's like, so then later in the film, they like enter the room and they pan by that corner and you see that he's moved the chair and got rid of all of it. And it's like, those details make this movie what it is. I think.
Agreed.
And I know that some people might not be interested enough to seek those details out, but I just think this movie it's amazing, man.
Yes, it is.
So,
I loved it. I mean, I know we probably ran out of time today. We're gonna have to do Oscars on the next one, but I just thought it was something I've never seen before in the aspect of what it was. Like I said, I mean, I think the killing of major characters is done very seldomly in a film, and I akin it to Japanese animation where you watch it, you get invested in the show, and after season 1, the main character is dead, and then season 2 you're introduced to a new hero. But it was just, I didn't think they would go there. And I love the shot of the head too. The next day, you see the head with all the little ants eating at it,
and her scream over that.
Over that, it's just an amazing film. And I love it. I mean, can I say it's better than everything on my list? Yes, I can say that. But yeah, I want to see all the other movies that are nominated. Again, I don't know if we're going to go into that because this show would be longer than an hour. We're going to go over that. So we're going to have to do this for next time. So we'll meet.
We're already at an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, so
you got plenty of us.
Yeah. So we'll definitely do the Oscar noms the next time. But yeah, Hereditary is just such a great film, and I recommend everyone watching it. If you're not into horror, I mean, don't watch it, but watch it anyway just to see what everyone's talking about.
Well, and so I think it's a terrifying film. Like I think it even like the shot of the grandmother in the corner in the beginning. Like there's something haunting about that.
Yes.
And so there's moments like that, but like I said, the horror is in those details I described. So you have like the last 15 minutes, which are genuine horror, which is like people wanting to murder and all that stuff, possession and walking on the wall, which is fucking unbelievable.
When she flies out too, and he was about to turn around, I think that was fucking awesome. I was like, what?
When I first saw this movie, I described it as like it's a movie made up of oh fuck moments, right? And there's about 5 in this movie where I think I audibly in the theater went oh fuck. And one of them is when Charlie dies.
Yes.
The other one is
I didn't talk. I was like,
the other one is the paint thinner scene, which I described, and then the other one is when there's like 2 moments in like a 5-minute span, which is when the movie this movie does this thing where it like goes and it cuts to like the next day or the night, or like there's a scene where Peter's in bed, sitting up in bed, and then it's in the trailer. It cuts to him in his desk in class.
Yeah.
And there's a moment at the end where we show an exterior of the house, and it cuts to black, and you see all these people in the woods, standing in the woods naked. And I went, oh fuck. Like I in the theater, I was like, oh fuck! Like I couldn't help it. I was like, I can't believe.
That's what Gloria did. But here, let me tell you something. And this is another. I mean, again, I've talked about 70s film, even though this was the tail end of the 70s. What's his name? John Frankenheimer's Cruising. One of my favorite films that everyone hates. I think I told you to see it. I don't know if you ever saw it. And let me tell you something. The scene where Peter turns around, that little slow creak, and you see that cock diesel guy who winks at Charlie at the funeral in the beginning of the film, and he's there naked, and he's just like waiting with the same grin, like I'm gonna rip that asshole apart. And the first thing I think about is Cruising with the black cowboy who walks in, with his chaps and his ass hanging out. And I was just like, oh my God, this is creepy. It's like, is he gonna rape Charlie? Is this what this is about? Like, we're gonna rape Charlie? It is so unsettling to see that dude. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't move. He's just creepily staring at it with a big smile. Like,
and it's lit in a way that when he grins, you can see his smile.
Smile, yes. And it's like, oh my balls, like the Joker almost. And I'm like, Charlie, and I kept saying, Charlie, there's a window. Go out that window. And eventually, when he gets to the attic, which, oh my God, he comes out the window. Gloriana just started laughing because I kept saying, I said, boy, there's a window right next to you. That's the only way out. And eventually, when he jumps out the window, I just started laughing and Gloriana's laughing. I was like, that was the only way out of that scene, the window. It was just
death. The last and my favorite scene, or my favorite shot of the entire film, and the last oh fuck moment, or at least in there's another oh fuck moment after that, but the greatest shot in the whole film, which is when Charlie or Peter wakes up and he slowly gets out of bed, and it's a wide shot of him in his room, and there's like a light coming in from the window, and up in the top of the corner you see Toni Collette,
yes,
it's just. You just barely can see it, and it's so brilliant. Like because we just haven't seen that.
Yes,
like we haven't seen her climbing the walls in the film, and it's like a movie that holds everything. Like it's kind of like Annihilation. Which have you seen it?
Yeah, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, I did see Annihilation. Yeah.
Really? Oh, you didn't like it? Well, okay, we'll get to that later. Save that for next time.
Yeah, next time we'll definitely talk about Annihilation.
But the point that I was trying to make is that that film like saves its score for that final sequence.
Yes.
We'll get into that later. But anyway, I feel like this movie's holding some of these these naked people in the woods, even though we've seen signs of them throughout the film, like with the breathing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's like breath in the woods. You can kind of see while Charlie Peter smokes pot.
And then you see whoever was in the house, in the little tree house they built for Charlie, they're smoking as well. And it's not Charlie, because Charlie, we never see that Charlie was smoked or anything. But he smoked his pot, and he just like looks out. Remember, because he only sees or notices it when the lights are on in there. That's when he knows Charlie is in there or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's like you just see a figure and smoke coming out of their mouth. So whoever it was, you could tell it was the first notion that it eludes you that, Charlie's possessed by some type of devil. But obviously we find out that it was probably one of those minions from the cult. Yeah, so. And so
then, but all I'm saying is that they hold all these concepts and they hint at them throughout the entire film, but then the movie explodes and becomes a horror film, and it's straight out survival, right? And it's fucking horrifying. Like that shot of him waking up and her being in the top left hand corner of the screen, and just the way that's actually, it's just so quiet and still. There's no, like, it's just, I don't know, man.
And you know what's funny is, like, your eyes adjust to the scene itself. Like if you woke up at night, you know how things come to view as your pupils start opening up. And it's funny because I was saying to Glow, when that happened, I said, watch somebody be in the corner. Because we've seen people in corners in the film. And then all of a sudden my eyes start open and I see her. And I'm like, holy shit. And then after that, and he does it good because when your eyes finally adjust to Annie on the wall, you still never see her face 100%. I keep thinking this is going to be this like evil monster. But it's just, she's just possessed and everything. But it's amazing. Yeah, even when she flies off, you know, and then later on when he's in the living room. The air. Oh my God, it's just.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, Hereditary is one of my favorite films of this year, but last year, yes, no doubt.
Anyway, that's Hereditary, and I think that's also our podcast.
Yeah, that's our show for today, yeah.
And we'll talk about
Oscars.
Annihilation next time.
Annihilation and the Oscars.
So disappointed you don't like Annihilation.
Oh my God, let's talk about that next time, bro. But anyway, so though we never introduced us in the beginning, you surely know us. My name was Carlos Hernandez, and this my excellent co-host, or the actual host of the show, is Jeremy Knight. And Jeremy, what do you want to say before we go?
I don't know.
He's like let down because of what I told him. Well, guys, you guys take care. You have a good couple of weeks. We should be reconvening in 2 weeks because I have my daughters for the next 2 weekends. Thank God for my divorce decree. And after that, it should be if we do the next time we meet, it should be like 2 weeks before the Oscars, so it'll still be relevant.
Perfect.
All right, bro.
Sounds good.
You guys take care.